Hello everyone, welcome back to another biblical video, and today we are going to be discussing the apologetics behind Numbers 31:17 to 18 in the New American Standard Bible as per usual. Now, therefore, kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has not known a man intimately. However, all the girls who have not known a man intimately, keep them alive for yourselves. Now, at first glance, this is quite the troubling verse for most Christians. This shows off our God being genocidal, possibly even pedophilic, warmongering, as well as wrathful. This is not the verse we would expect to see in such a loving book, such known as the Holy Bible. So, what's going on here? Well, first, let's just get this out of the way. The verse is about the Midianites and what they did to Israel and how God sort of reacted to that and what he commanded of the Israelites from there. So what we have to understand is that Balaam, who was the kind of false prophet who was tricking Israel, had sent out Midianite and Moabite women to seduce Israelite men into committing sinful behavior. It should be noted that Midianites people would have been probably committing very depraved acts. Any act that the Bible bans is likely what they would have been making Israelite men do. So cultic prostitution, child sacrifice, sodomy, and much, much more would have likely been practiced by these people. This, of course, would be a very, very peculiar thing if God was to allow that to happen. So, of course, he sends the Israelites to go to war. But the problem is, he says to wipe out all of them except for the little girls. Why is this? Well, first off, let's get off the first point. No, this verse is not genocidal. There are other mentions of Midianites later in the biblical text. We see this in Judges 6:3. So we obviously know that when God was saying to destroy all the Midianites, he was likely being exaggerative. We see this a lot in the Bible. For instance, when Israel is told by God to destroy the Canaanites, throughout the entire Bible, Canaanites are still mentioned. They did not exactly kill them all. They just pushed them into a point where they could not prevent Israelites from taking over. They did not genocide them. They sort of banished them in a sort of way of understanding it. We should also note that Midianites were a nomadic group of people, meaning that if they were to have done this to Israel, it likely wasn't the entire tribe of Midian. I mean, hell, Moses even married a Midianite woman. Why would he be doing this against the entire tribe of Midian? It is fairly clear to me that only a small portion of whatever nomadic area that was committing this would have been attacked by Israel. That would have included the young boys who, of course, mind you, would have likely grown up to then go on and fight the Israelites. And it wouldn't have been the entire region of Midian, because that would quite literally be impossible. The region of Midian was very, very big, being that it was off the coast of the Gulf of Aqaba in Saudi Arabia and in the Sinai Peninsula. That would be a very, very large amount of people that you would have to kill, and also they're a nomadic tribe, so they don't even all live together. That is, of course, just a theory, where other scholars even claim that maybe the Midianites weren't even a group of people, but perhaps a league of a bunch of different races. And then, like that, you can't really imagine that they would have been killing off any specific group of people, because like that, it probably was just a small group or a tribe, or possibly a tiny clan of a sect within those people who were likely doing this, as I doubt they quite literally sent every single Midianite woman, including Zipporah, who would have been the wife of Moses, to do such a thing. It's fairly clear of that. Now, another issue that a lot of people will point out within the text is probably the fact that the young girls in the verse are referred to as to take them for yourselves. Now, why would God be commanding such a thing? Well, it's quite simple. The reason that God was commanding such a thing in the first place was because God did not like the fact that Midianite and Moabite women were coming to Israelite men, causing them to sin, but they were seducing them into causing them to sin. So that came from mostly the fact that they were using sexual acts to kind of bring the Israelite men into sin. So when the verse says, kill those who have not slept with a man, what they're saying is these women who have not slept with anybody, that could obviously would include young girls, because if you were grown at that time, you had probably already slept. This includes virgins, because they would have not done anything reasonably sinful. So No, when the Bible says take them and for yourselves, they're not referring to the Israelite men. They are referring just simply to the fact that these were not the women who were committing the sin that Balaam had forced them to commit. These were the women who were just essentially living their lives inside of said nomadic tribe. I think these apologetics are very, very simple, and I don't think this is too much of a debate. We should note that the Midianites were just as depraved and were attempting to try to kill Israel. That was what Balaam's ultimate goal was. So when the Israelites did it, they did it in retaliation, not trying to genocide the Midianites out of nowhere. Because again, they likely weren't even genociding the Midianites. They were likely fighting off a certain sect of them. And of course, we have to accept the fact that if we do look at the young girls, we need to accept that these would have been the women who did not trick Israel. Therefore, they would have been innocent. Therefore, God took upon them sympathy. So he would have told the Israelites to not kill them. Note how the verse never says to sleep with or to use any language that would necessarily suggest that. If the Bible doesn't usually explicitly say something, it's very unlikely that it was trying to intentionally make that meaning. Sometimes it does use poetic language, but there's no real poetic language that would suggest such a thing. So, simply put, I don't think this verse is nearly as bad as people say it is. God was acting righteously, so you couldn't say that he was acting wrathful or warmongering, because the Midianites were trying to kill off Israel and were trying to turn them into depraved people who would commit child sacrifice and do other horrible things. They were trying to make them depraved. So Israel was only retaliating. Those young girls, well, there's nothing in the verse that would suggest that they were to be slept with. Only in the verse does it suggest that they were to be sanctified and separated from the women who had committed such a sin. That's why the Bible explicitly states to kill the women, because the women had been doing that. So of course you're going to kill off and punish the women who had been doing that. And of course, the big one here, Israelites obviously did not kill every single Midianite because it was too big of a region for them to have done that, and Midianites are later mentioned in the Bible. So if they had truly decimated the entire region of Midian, how on earth does that fit in with the continuity? Simple as that. And that's about it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I just thought I'd go on a little apologetics that would be rather easy. More videos will be coming out in the future. I apologize for a little gap in my content recently, but of course that is what we have for now. Until then, goodbye and God bless.